Welcome to the CFG Gamecast, episode number 182, a weekly podcast created by gamers and streamers who like to discuss the latest gaming topics from the previous week. We stream a new episode every weekend and release it on podcast services like Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, and so much more. So show us some love. Do us a favor, give us a follow on Facebook, a like on a like or a subscribe on Twitch or YouTube, or just go to our main website, freaksandgeeks.com, to not miss an episode. I am Mr. CFG Games himself, and with me today, we are just a two-man team, but I am talking to a guy who loves putting so much candy and crap inside his ice cream. I'm talking about the five-star general of the itty bitty Smithy Committee. I got Smithy in the third seat. What is going on, my dude?
Oh, chilling. Still kind of on the recovery from surgery here a week or so, but recovery's been going pretty smoothly, which has been nice. Gaming wise, still grinding out Final Fantasy 16. We were just talking about it a little bit ago. Exo Primal just came out. That was a big pain to get everything connected, but once I did get things connected, it's been pretty smooth. I'm enjoying the game. It's a lot of fun. Do I think it's worth $60? That's yet to be seen. But yeah, it's it's like $60. That's kind of
yet
cheap.
To be seen. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I have it on Game Pass. I feel like I'm coming from a different perspective just because I haven't paid for it, or I didn't pay any money for it. I'm a little more like, oh yeah, dude, like this is just about like how much fun I'm having. It'd be a lot more fun if I could play directly with all my friends on the different platforms. So hopefully they get that figured out. I think that'll be a huge boon. But overall, I'm enjoying it. It's something different than we've seen, but something also kind of familiar as well.
So wait, what do you have to do? Like would it ask you to join, to be with your friends and stuff? Like what specifically do you have to do? Is there like a option that automatically connects to you, or it just automatically connects to your Microsoft account or something?
So it for me, it connects to my Microsoft account, so it's seeing only my Microsoft friends. So like I couldn't even see. We even tried to do the old Dust had showed a trick where you can add a program and sometimes it'll bring it into Steam. I couldn't get it to work. Excuse me, but it only sees my friends through my Microsoft account, which sucks. I thought I even went into Steam to see if maybe, because I have my Microsoft and my Steam account connected, but to no avail. And we did a little digging online too, and we couldn't find anywhere or anybody saying anything about being successfully able to connect and buddy up directly with their friends. And I wasn't going to drop $60, although I think there's a sale on it right now. But I can't justify that, especially with it being on Game Pass. You know, I'm not, we've done that mistake before, you know.
Hey,
so.
You know what? You know what, Smithy? You don't have to drop $60 for that game. Because if you go on Green Man Gaming, CFG Green Man Gaming, you'll be able to get for $50. So there you go.
Boom.
So there you go. There
Boom.
you go.
I didn't even know that was a thing, man.
Oh, it is a thing. Yeah, Green Man. For brand new games, I usually go on Green Man Gaming to pick it up because we get a good discount. We get sometimes 15 to 20% off.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah, a new PC game. So there you go. So
yeah,
CFG Games, Green Man Gaming.
yeah. Other than that, though, a little bit of Marvel Snap and stuff. We did a little more climbing. And
what's your rank?
I think I'm at 75. I keep bouncing into 70s, but we just gotta push through that. But yeah, overall, it's been pretty solid, man. What about you? How was your week, brother?
It's been going great. It's very productive, I would say. It's very, very productive. I finished Final Fantasy 16 yesterday, which was really, really good. Man, that ending was god dang. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody, but yeah, that ending was good.
Nice.
Then you also, then the trip and the trek to it was fun. Definitely love the battle system of it. Like it still wasn't 100%. But it's still like now when I've finished it all said and done, I would say that the story is the thing that really kept me going on this game. The story was very captivating, and then but other than that, if the story wasn't so strong, I don't know if I would have liked the game as much as I did. But I will say that the game itself overall is the best Final Fantasy post turn-based, which is what that means is like Final Fantasies used to be turn-based till 10, so it's been about 15 to 20 years since they haven't done a turn-based Final Fantasy. After 10, they've been experimenting with new systems and stuff.
Yeah.
So I say it's the best one of that era. It's maybe will be in my top 5, creep in like in the 5th place in my deal, but I still don't think it's quite that as good as the other of the previous predecessors and stuff overall, because there's some of the kinks of it kind of got to me a little bit. Like I think like you were saying, like you and I definitely agree. I think the side quest got a little bit monotonous. There's some that are important, but then there are some that are just felt like they're fetch quest. And and I felt like it just took up some time, and then that was just one of the small things. But I mean, it wasn't a deal breaker. I still think everyone should come and try and play that game. And I think one of the things that really got to me though too, besides the battle system being a simple battle system, was that there's no status effects. I mean, like, why didn't they not add status effects in this game? Like paralyzed, confused, sleep, silence, something would have been very useful for something like that. Would have been great to do in this game. But but I still liked it. It was a very fun game, had a good fun 50 hours. I should platinum it, but I'm going to take a break like I always do. I always take a small break of Final Fantasy and then just do something else, and then probably go back to it on my own. But now I need to focus on Street Fighter because I am going to be entering the Evo tournament in a couple of weeks, so try to figure out how to play that try to play that again with the new system and everything, which is going to be fun with with my boy Ken. So we're going to see how that's going to go. And then also I'm going to go to be doing some other cool content over what's it called, DreamCon as well, so that's going to be a fun one too. So yeah, there's just a lot of different kinds of things, man, that's coming in, very much so. Haseo says I beat it like 2 weeks ago. Well, I'm sorry, Haseo, that I'm a little slower than you. But yeah, I'm just kidding though. But that's good, really good game. I think they went rich on the story. They definitely went rich on the story. And but like what I liked about it is that it was entertaining. Like the game is entertaining. I mean, like throughout the story, it just kept you in and it pulled you in. Like it didn't force you to go to the story. It just naturally did. And then it also made you keep the pace so you didn't lose your place in what was going on through the main core story, which is really, really good storytelling. So I definitely love that. So unknown says odd thing to leave out for status effects. I totally agree. I just think that it felt weird. I fought a Marlboro, and then Marlboro's known for status effects, and it wasn't. It was just damage, just pure damage. And I'm just like, so weird, very, very weird. But but like I said, it's not a deal breaker. I think anyone should try to play this game if they like story-based games. This is a very good story-based driven game. Let's see. When is Echo and DreamCon? Well, Evo comes is the first week of August, and DreamCon's the end of July. But what's weird is that we're going to be busy. I'm going to be in Vegas for both what's it called, Evo, as well as there's another event that's happening called the Final Fantasy Fan Fest that's happening on the end of July as well. But then there's also an event that we're also covering down in Austin, which is DreamCon. That's like, so all this is happening in like a 2-week period. Yeah, it's freaking insane.
Yeah,
it's insane. Yeah, so I got a team that doing DreamCon. I'm doing Final Fantasy Fan Fest, and I'm also doing Evo, and then just participating and also taking some photos and some videos and stuff like that over there. So yeah, we got some stuff to go do. You can do it next year, Doc. The only thing is that you probably may not want to do BlurredCon. I don't know if that's a non-starter for you. But still, that'll be a non-starter. That might be a non-starter, but hey, you do what you got to do to get some of that stuff done, So yeah. Is CFG inviting to the next tourney? LOL on the Snap. I need to redeem myself for the last tournament on Snap. That was just bad.
He made himself look like a fool. He was talking all that trash.
I wasn't talking so much crap at all. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, not directly for the tournament. Just all the trash talking you do to me. That was your comeuppance. That's all that was. That was your comeuppance.
That's not even the comeuppance, because you know what? If that was the case, that means I'd be losing to you consistently, which is not the case.
What do you? No. No. It just wanted you. No. It. Those are definitely comeuppance.
Okay.
But we should probably get into the news, though.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We need to go. Let's go to the normal rigmarole that we like to do each and every week. So, guys, so each of us chooses a topic, a discussion through the previous week in the world of video games. The topic would or could be a game itself or something that happened in the gaming industry, and we do not want to talk about it amongst ourselves. We want you, the listeners and viewers, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Kick, on TikTok, on Facebook, and Facebook. To be a part of the conversation. So if there's something you wanted to talk about, just chime right in, and we will love to discuss it with everyone here. So let's get this party started. Smitty, what are you bringing to the table?
Yeah, so I saw this story here, and it is kind of unbelievable to me. But there's a story that's out that there's a Genshin Impact voice actors are saying that they haven't been paid in months. Mind you, Genshin Impact makes a ton of money. I mean, we're talking about millions monthly. And like, so this, like, I was like, all right, that seems kind of weird. But I just want to go into this because one of the voice actors, Brandon Winkler, writes on Twitter, after a fifth email with no response, this is regarding Genshin Impact. Inexcusable for us as actors to be waiting 4+ months for pay when you make $86 million per month. Unfortunately, this is not an uncommon problem, which is true in the creative sphere. But typically when you're freelancing, you're expected to wait like a month before you get paid. That's minimum. There's a lot of times I haven't been paid in months until months after, or sometimes where you don't get paid at all because the company runs out of money or you know, whatever. There's a number of different reasons. So it's not surprising, but this game is absolutely huge. So to see something like this is really surprising. They said that Winkler also revealed that in addition to being late, that their wages were also extremely low. He says, quote, "It's really hard to justify working on something for the sake of work when you can't afford to eat," they tweeted. "Many non-union productions have this problem. I've waited anywhere from 4 to 8 months for payment, and even then, it isn't much to ask. $1,000 here, $500 there, and it adds up fast." And I feel like this is kind of indicative too of what's going on with the writer strike and the actor strike as well. Is that there's this different, especially when it comes to like some of these streaming services and things like that. And I just feel like in the arts, they kind of, on the business side of things, there hasn't been any deals that have really acknowledged the fact that these new mediums have come to light and they're not being properly regulated. And I feel like this is, again, another issue. And we know this, too, from just in general, voice actors on projects and stuff like that. You know, a lot of times they're getting either, I mean, depending on their credentials and whatnot, they could be getting just normal rates. You know what I'm saying? A couple $100 an hour or something like that. But then these games go on to make millions and billions of dollars, and their stuff is used basically in perpetuity. Now, it's one thing if you get called back in, but we saw that happen too, where they came out with Bayonetta 3. And then there was the big thing with the actor that was like that you know, she came out and there's a whole, you know, that whole thing. And then Jennifer Hale ended up picking it up and whatnot. And, you know, but I think that is a serious thing that needs to be looked at. And clearly this is just, to me, unacceptable. Waiting 4 to 8 months for a paycheck. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, this is part of these people's livelihoods. And, you know, that's just not even a reasonable time frame from work rendered to payment. That is crazy to me. But you see that a lot in the freelance world. So it's kind of not surprising that something like that, like these kind of practices are happening. But again, you would think, especially a studio that's making this much money, that they would be paying the people that are needing to be paid, regularly and on time.
One of the, I mean, it's actually surprising because like who makes this? I think it's MiHoYo is the one that makes it. This is one of the very rare companies that the conglomerate Tencent isn't a part of, or whatever, it isn't a part of, which is surprising to me. But before I go into it, a couple of questions were asked, or statements were posted inside Twitch, as well as you can on twitch.tv/CFG Games. Unknown says, why would they be freelance with a game that big? They should be hired into the company, I think. Well,
I don't think that's how that works, though.
The voice acting game is very, very different, like, on how that works. So it's not, because like the way
it's like a per project base.
Yeah, it's a per project base, and then there's two ways. There's one of two ways that they can do it, because I've talked to a ton of voice actors on shameless plug on Pop Culture Gems, and like they've said the process of it, like 9 times out of 10 they don't even know what the
game is. Yeah,
they don't even know what the game. They won't even know what the game is until, like, literally, because there's times where people are in the middle of the project, they're just doing lines, and then then they'll eventually ask them, hey, what is this for? And then they'll be like, oh yeah, this is for so and so, because of that's how strict some of these NDAs are for some of these people,
right?
But like the way, so like the problem is that now there are what's it called? There are guilds for, like, there are groups for guilds for voice actors. For the longest of the time there wasn't, and but now there are. But some companies, especially Chinese out of country Chinese companies, are usually out of that, so they usually don't like to be incorporated to companies, to voice actors that are guild associated. So if that's the case, like, they could do whatever the hell they want to do. Now, to say that like it's been 4 months, that's, like, I'd say that's incredibly rare. They usually are pretty on top of this kind of thing, especially like I can understand if this was like an indie project, and then the indie project was like, yeah, they're struggling to get, to get all their finances according. No, these guys literally get paid like sick, like they get like hundreds of millions of dollars in a month, just on the microtransactions and the process and stuff like that. And if this person shared their lines, like, what the hell, like, what is going on at this point?
And let me so the studio did respond to these allegations, and HoYoverse issued a statement to GameSpot suggesting it's the recording studio that it uses, not the developer itself, that has been laid on payments to voice actors. It says it's pressuring the recording studio to pay up and is looking into alternative solutions to resolve the situation. This is a quote from them now directly. "We truly regret to learn about the ongoing situation," the studio said. "Genshin Impact values and respects the work and effort of everyone involved, and we support our voice actors to claim their proper due. We have made payments to our recording studio on time, and we have immediately urged the studio to pay our voice actors. Meanwhile, we are also seeking alternative solutions. We will keep everyone posted on further developments." So it sounds like it's the not the actual company, but the recording studio is kind of like the middleman from the game studio to the actors and them getting paid. And it sounds like then the money essentially is getting held up at the recording studio. But for, again, the dude that Brandon that had the tweet said that was his 5th email attempt. So again, he was clearly out there saying, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" And I'm guessing he probably waited like a month and then started like, "Hey, just checking in on the money, whatever, what have you." And, so for it to go this far, for him to have to go and write this tweet about, the conditions, and he's not the only one. There's been multiple voice actors in Genshin Impact that are making similar claims. So, I don't know that they're completely absolved of any kind of wrongdoing within this, because clearly these concerns have been being brought up to them month over month, and they haven't really done much. If these folks are still not getting paid, or there has been times where they're not getting paid until 8 months out, you should have made decisions a long time ago to get rid of that recording studio that's holding you up, because that in itself should be unacceptable. And if they were within a union, then that certainly would have been against and broke. Yeah, exactly.
Red flag.
Exactly.
But then again, though, too, what throws me off a little bit about this too is that when they got voice actors don't get residuals for anything. They do not get residuals for any other voices that they use. They don't get like a
which is crazy to me
and stuff like that for none of that stuff. It's a non-starter when for residuals. So usually it's a flat fee, and then once you get the fee, you're done. That's how it usually works. I don't understand. Yeah, but that's a separate conversation in itself. So, but what I don't understand is that what the hell has the studio, has this recording studio been doing in 4 or 5 months? I mean, who what were they saying to these people? Were they just denying access? Were they just pretending that they were closed? I mean, what the frick is going on with the communication towards this?
So I've seen things kind of like that where I've worked on production trucks for things, and basically they'll pay, they have to pay the people out, but then if they run out of money or they didn't make their, whatever happens, some people, there's a chance that you just don't get paid out. You know what I mean? And then you'd have to take them to small claims court, and it'll end up costing you more than what it's worth. So a lot of times they get away with smaller things like that. But it's not uncalled for or unthinkable to think that, something like this is happening. You would just think, though, the fact that they are making so much money, that's not the issue. The issue is not the fact that they don't have enough money to pay these actors out. Where's the holdup? And their claims are, we're paying the recording studio, and the studio's not doing anything. The recording studio could then be taking some of the money that they're getting directly and using it, to do other things on their side, and then they don't have enough. Exactly. That would be my guess as to what's going on. Hence why this has been going on for a while. They should have gotten rid of this company a long time ago and found a better company to work with in terms of that, or just go directly. I don't know how it works,
but why would they want if they jeopardize something like that? Hoyoverse, like I said, these people are making fistful of dollars. That's a constant general workflow of money that's going into their studios and stuff. And this is not even they have 2 games that are like this right now. They have Genshin Impact and they have Honkai Star Rail. And those 2 games are getting a lot of money. And why would they jeopardize something like? I don't know. I guess that's just all speculations at that point. But hopefully this dude gets his money. I hope they get they fix whatever the product the issue is. And I just would love to know what the hell happened. What dropped the ball. And find out what's going on through there, because that's just so messed up. You basically had a person that's been waiting for 4 or 5 months. It's like saying you're waiting for your job to pay you back, to pay you finally for your bill, for your deal. Again,
to me, this is how unions are formed. That people are just, ridiculously all out and in the open, just doing people dirty, and people get sick of it, and they're like, that this is how unions are born. I would not be surprised if within the next 5 years there's a major push for that in the gaming space, in some sort of something because it's happened. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I think this is closely tied to with the SAG-AFTRA strike, with the writer strike, and just how the form and delivery, the medium has changed and shifted in how people are consuming content, and the typical standards of yesteryears no longer, a lot of them don't even apply, or people are not properly being compensated for the work that they are creating, these characters. To think that somebody, just one of your most iconic characters, got paid one time $500 for a game that sold millions of dollars is crazy to me. At least give some sort of rev share or something. We're in the process of that change. It is happening right now, and it is happening on all the mediums. I think within the next 5 years, the scope of the landscape of this and the artists that are working this stuff is going to be very different than what it is today.
I don't think they're going to still get the residuals though. That's going to be an uphill battle.
That is going to be an uphill
battle. A very big uphill battle for them to be like, oh, hey, you've been using our voice. You've been using like I mean, can you imagine like some people like Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, is demanding like residuals for the 30 years of Mario that he's been playing. So
I mean, which would be that would be crazy. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see what they can do. I think something needs to change for sure. I think there needs to be better compensation for, especially when it comes to, these bigger stuff. And I think there could be different tiers. The same thing is like with indie films and stuff like that. They operate at different levels, even though there's still protections behind even independent films. They run a little more loosey goosey.
They have to be. I mean, it's like you don't have the budget or the money to be doing that kind of stuff with the big boys. But like, did you see like what some of the studios were trying to do, like was trying to get away with originally, like what with the SAG and the SAG-AFTRA and the writer's strike about AI technology. So
yes, that is crazy.
So I was like, wow, dude, I didn't even think about that. But then you're right. So this is a very important, because like originally, they were originally going to say, hey, if you used your voice, or if you're a background character, they're going to use your likeness for background character. They won't give you residuals.
You won't get paid
for 1 day. Yeah, 1 day of work, a flat fee, but then the rest of your background work for AI is going to be like that for life.
In perpetuity. That's crazy. In perpetuity. That is crazy.
So
you got to pay you got to pay a lot of money. That's like owning a piece of footage. You watched the Hindenburg. You somehow got that one piece of thing, and then somebody said, "I'll give you $100 for it, for the original." They can do anything they want with it. You're like, oh, no way. You're not going to give that away. That's a one-of-a-kind film. It's going to cost a lot more than that, because then they'll be able to make money by reproducing it and doing whatever they want with it. But the original, dude, like, no, man, that's crazy to me.
Is that crazy? Yeah.
That is some of the, and that's where there's these ethical things too within the AI space. I feel like there's a lot of good and a lot of cool things you can do with it, but there's also a lot of ethical things that come into terms with AI and what you're able to do with that technology, and this being one of them. They're basically saying, I mean, look at what is it, Secret Invasion. They did, instead of hiring artists, they used AI to create the opening sequence. Like, come on, dude. And it's terrible. It's terrible. It's very bad. It's like, what is going on, man? Like, they're trying to find shortcuts because they know, because VFX doesn't have a guild. Like, I'm surprised they don't have. I know they need to desperately. From conversations from like Donk, and folks that work in that industry, it's just like, dude, it is brutal. It's surprising what how much they have to work with the small the budget that they're needing to do. Especially, can you imagine what Disney shows, like Disney Plus shows, right? Like what they're demanding for these people or these teams to do to kind of get things done. It's just it's unimaginable, dude. Like it's surprising that they don't have an organization for that kind of deal. So right. So anyways. But anyways, well, okay, but at least Genshin, at least MiHoYo is actually working on this, so that's good. But then, but still, shame on them for taking it for taking it as long as it is. And then also for them to finally reply back after the people have been trying to get in touch with them for this long. I mean, Jesus. Crazy. It's like, my goodness, it's like finally, it's like, oh, because the reason why is because you've people social media has now got a touch of a little bit of the inside of it. I hate that it takes that much. You have to go that far in order to get something rectified. It's like, I shouldn't have to publicly talk about this. I'm not publicly talking, and everybody themselves, but like, I'm not comfortable publicly bashing You know what I mean? Like a company or anything like that. Unless you've done something like absolutely ridiculous. But like to me, like I can not like a company Blizzard. And I don't have to like write about like, oh, you know, just talking trash about them. I just choose not to you know,
to be a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
totally
exactly.
Agree.
So
totally agree.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay, look, good deal. All right, well, that's a good topic. Let's go to my topic. And I want to talk about the continuing drama that we call the Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. So like it's always we've been talking about this off and on for the past couple of months now, several months, like because it's been a roller coaster for this thing to get done, and it still is essentially. So originally, as you know, Microsoft put a purchasing bid for Activision Blizzard for a ridiculous amount of money. I think it's the largest amount of money for a gaming studio to be purchased. Was it 48 billion or 68 billion dollars, something around that?
No, I thought it was like 80 something billion, wasn't it? Or like 70 something billion? It was something crazy.
It was a lot. That's what we know it was.
Billions.
Yeah, it was billions of dollars. It was Dr. Evil billion, that kind of amount of money that it was. So yeah, it's ridiculous on like what the amount of money. So because of that, now originally Sony was trying to put a pin on this deal for a long time because they're worried because that is legitimately money that's being taken out of their pockets from this. And there's also the roller coasters of like, you know, some of the stuff from South America leaked a little bit, so then there was a whole nonsense of stuff that was happening there. Then we can go over all the way to Europe, because Europe is actually, they're still actually fighting with Europe right now, with England, about this this buyout. And so they're not out of the woods yet in Europe yet, but here in the States they got the clear this week to say that for Microsoft to purchase Activision Blizzard. But apparently the FTC was trying to reach out and try to do a last ditch attempt to stop this buyout from happening, which is crazy to me. I was like, wow, really? They really cared that much? Okay. To prevent this from happening. But then today they the ninth I believe it was the Ninth Circuit Court. I you know, when it comes to courts and stuff, I hate the ninth, the fifth and stuff circuit. I think the circuit, I think it's the Ninth Circuit Court denied their appeal. So that was the highest that they can get, unless they go to the Supreme Court for this, which I really doubt the Supreme Court will say, yes, we want to talk about a gaming company. So the court. So essentially they are in a way they are legally able to clear to do the buyout of Activision Blizzard for this to happen. Now in the meanwhile, the FTC appealed the person that appealed the decision was a judge named Jacqueline Scott Corley, and he was saying that the motion for injustice relief is denied, and then they're saying the reason for it was that the preliminary injunction itself was they didn't have enough information to prove that this was not going to be a healthy for the business as a whole between all of that. So I guess so they're just basically saying, who cares? It's not going to be a monopoly. There's other companies and stuff like that. My problem with this, in my idea, I personally don't care. All right, let's just say I really don't care what's going to happen. If people want to be dishing out this kind of cash for this kind of stuff, so be it. And also, if this is going to be a reason to kick out Bobby Kotick, so be it too. On top of that, but like my whole thing about this is that like you're depending on a court that may not understand the implications of this deal to go fully through, in my opinion, as a whole. Because like, dude, they have more important things to do than just looking at this case overall, a business. But when you really look at the business itself, like if you really look at the big companies that are owned in the gaming industry itself, it is a pretty big piece of the pie between Activision Blizzard and what Microsoft owns already towards that. So I kind of disagree in a way on this, but at the same time, do what you need to do, man, because Activision Blizzard is still a shitty company, in my opinion, personally. without in this deal, they need a buyer. I mean, who's gonna purchase that? purchase this company. I mean, even Endeavor, Embracer probably doesn't have that kind of cash. So
well, they're cutting back. Embracer Group's cutting back.
Yeah, so like, I mean, there's no other person on this planet that would be willing to be doing it unless it was like Tencent, and I don't know if Tencent would want to even do it too in that case.
Right.
So anyways, I was just kind of wanting to bring the question to you, like, like what your thoughts are, if you think it's a good thing, if you think it's a bad thing, like what are your thoughts about them denying the FTC plea to block it?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, I'm again I don't really care if they get it. I want Bobby out, and I don't think that'll happen if this merger doesn't take place. They've already made, and you know, again, at the time when they started making those, hey, we're gonna make a commitment to Nintendo, we're gonna make a commitment to keep this thing at least for the next 10 years. So we know that for the next 10 years, and it's been put out into the public space now, and there's written agreements that they are gonna, at least we know, for the next 10 years. And I don't think them making an exclusive would make any sense anyway. They would only be cutting off their own cash flow in terms of that. And I always feel that it's been weird because PlayStation is got all kinds of exclusives. So it's like the pot calling the kettle black. I felt like they're like, well, you're not allowed to do that. We gonna do it, yeah, but you're not allowed to do it. Like, what are you talking about? That game's too big to do that. But there was no reason for Microsoft to do it in the first place, I believe, for them to make that game to block it off and limit. If anything, Microsoft has been showing us with the moves that they've been making is that they're trying to open it up and just get people into their ecosystem. They've already said that they've conceded on the console wars. This is the only thing that I feel that they are ahead of in the game, and we know that PlayStation has bought into their infrastructure in terms of cloud gaming. They are looking towards the future, and I am a believer as well that I think on a more consumer level, we're going to be seeing more people doing cloud gaming in the future.